to the genetics lab. So today we'll talk about one of the tools that we will be using this week, which is expression Anglar. So we're still trying to identify the function of your unknown gene. So, and one of the tools that might be useful is today's tool, which is called expression Anglar. So if your gene is unknown, right, you don't know the function for it, but you know the genes that are always co-expressed with your gene, right? So if you know what the genes are that are always co-expressed with your gene, then you might be able to argue that my gene is probably part of the same pathway that those genes are in. So let's do this today. Let's share this screen. Okay, so this is the tool. Tool, you just go to the lab of week 6, click here, and let's put the gene right here. This is your gene name. And we want to know what the genes are that are associated, right, that are correlated, that show strong correlation with your gene, meaning they are co-expressed at the same time. So this is the correlation coefficient, should be between not less than 0.75, right, between 0.75 and 1. So the higher, it means that they are, the more correlated they are. Here you have multiple databases, like the EFP, you had multiple databases. Also here you have multiple databases. So let's try this one. You will explore all these 10 tools, but let's start with this one. Let's submit query. Okay. So the data that you will see is it looks at your gene and tests its correlation with other 23,000 genes in the Arabidopsis genome, right? It looks at your gene and it compares it to every single one of the 23 other genes, 23,000 other genes. So you could view this as a text, and this would show a matrix which shows your gene by and its correlation with all other genes. So let's look at the colorimetric representation of that data. So let's view formatted data set after median, centering, and normalization. So there's some type of statistics that they do to account for, to make sure that the data that you're looking at is correct. So this is what I see. So you look at here, to the right, this is my gene. This is my unknown gene, right? And those are all the genes, all other genes, right? So the rows are different genes. Keep going. I think it kind of picked the top 25, I believe. So, and to the left, so the columns, right, are different times, different tissues. It kind of shows here. If you look at this tissue, it says which tissue that is, right? Meristem, root apex, right? It shows like the different tissues, different times. It also shows the name of the database that you're using. So it also shows the growth stage of Arabidopsis, like which growth state that is. And to know what that is, you can just click here, and it will tell you if this is growth 1.1, you would know like what that is. Okay, so let's go here back again. So those are the different genes, right? And to the left here, whenever you hover, stop over any of those genes, it would show you the correlation coefficient to the left here, right? The top left. So this is 0.89, means strong correlation. So let's move just a little bit. So here you would see at the left that it's the value is 1 right here. So this is the gene with itself, right? So, and as you go down, you can see that it's still highly correlated. So, okay, so now I know that my gene is highly correlated and co-expressed with these other genes, right? But I don't know what the function of these genes are, right? If I know what the function of these genes are, I might be able to predict what the function of my gene is. So for example, So this functional class, it kind of shows what the function of the gene is. So all of those genes, right? Each one of those genes will generally have more than one function. Most of the genes, they serve more than one function. So in each bar, it means it's doing a certain function in the cell. So if you look right here, right, if you look here, you would see that this blue, so these little bars, colored bars, it tells you what the function is. So this, for example, this blue color, it means that the gene is involved in cell organization, right? So those genes that have a blue bar, they are involved in cell organization, right? So this gene, for example, is involved in cell organization and several other functions. But what you might be able to see is you look at this green bar, right? This green color, it's common, right? You can see it across all these genes, right? So this green color. And this green color, right, it's towards the end of this row. So it's not the first green that you would see, right? It's the very last green, which is right here, right? Which tells you this has something to do with chloroplast, which is right here. So it tells you that all those genes are involved in chloroplast, and probably then your gene has probably something to do with chloroplast. So this is one way you could look at the data, right? But you could also look at the names of these genes, right? So let's see what are the names of those genes. If you just move the mouse over those genes, it would show you, like right here, what the name of the gene is, or what their function. So for example, this gene, maybe it says glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. You would go and Google and see what that gene does, right? But then you go down, it says photosynthetic electron transfer. Okay, it probably has something to do with photosynthesis. Let's move down. Photosystem 1 light harvesting complex. Right, cytochrome B6F. Photosystem 2, right, large harvesting complex. So all of those genes has something to do with photosynthesis. Then it would be safe to say that your gene also has something to do with photosynthesis, right? So, and you could use this piece of information to kind of augments other stuff that you have learned from EFP and other tools that we have learned. So, yeah, this is one tool that is useful and kind of